All right, it is Trevenchy, and this is a segment of the 480 experience, but we are doing college football playoff takes. Yeah, well, it's that time of year. Selection Sunday this week. We are done with week 15. We are in the championship window this week. Conference championship Saturday, baby. Right? Unfortunately, we do have one on Friday, but you get the gist of it. It is conference championship Friday. So, guys, I want to have some takes that I want to add to the narratives of college football. Here we go. So, I've already done a top 25 of the projected college football 25 that comes out tonight. You know, I do it from the standpoint of as if I'm speaking from and as the college football playoff committee. You know, what I factor in are with the context that these teams won't be penalized for competing in conference championships. And obviously, there's the context that there are teams that will be rewarded for winning their conference and getting into the playoff that may not be in that top 25. But the idea is this, you know, from the teams that are looking on the outside in, who are on the couch watching their conference championship, you know, play out the way it will, you still have a shot. You know, there are certain scenarios that I believe in which there are teams that can sneak in. You know, right now, the biggest narrative that is surrounding college football is the bias towards the Big Ten and the SEC. Well, from the standpoint of what's looking like who will make the playoff right now, unfortunately, the SEC may only be able to, you know, show out 3 teams. We're looking at Tennessee sitting on the couch watching that, and we're looking at, you know, Georgia and Texas battling it out for the championship. So as of right now, you know, Alabama's on the outside looking in, Ole Miss is on the outside looking in, South Carolina's on the outside looking in, and Miami's on the outside looking in. Miami just lost to Syracuse by 4 points, and they lost to Georgia Tech earlier this season. What are you going to say? You know, unfortunately, you may have lost your opportunity in the dance. And I know there's going to be some ACC bias people who just say, so disrespectful to leave Miami out. You know, with 2 losses, everyone else has 3. But unfortunately, you know, those losses are bad. And I know you could say the whole, you know, Bama has some bad losses as well, you know, losing to bowl-eligible Oklahoma and bowl-eligible Vanderbilt. But the beauty in it is this, right? You're just having a lot more competition going on throughout the season. And if you're able to go and win Georgia, you know, beat Georgia, you and Ole Miss are the only 2 teams to beat that team. That's going to go on your resume as a lot more of a benefactor than, you know, Miami sneaking past the Louisville team. And that's the only team they really have as their good win. Unfortunately, you're not competing in the ACC. So here's my take right now. If Clemson wins the ACC, Miami's done. There's going to be 2 ACC teams, and not only Miami's done, Bama's out, Ole Miss is out, South Carolina's out. If Clemson wins the ACC, SMU is going to assume a spot in the playoffs still because they won't be penalized for it being in the conference championship. They'll be a 2-loss team. Everyone's going to be on the outside looking in. You're going to be looking at 3 SEC schools in the college football playoff if Clemson is victorious. That's a huge factor in this right now, right? If I'm a Bama fan or if I'm Ole Miss, if I'm Lane Kiffin complaining and tweeting right now, I'm looking at, you know, let's see SMU domination, right? I want to see these guys beat the living crap out of Clemson. So Clemson is out of the conversation. And yeah, you're just going to pray that they take an SEC bias over Miami. Right now, as I've done a top 25, I'll edit it over the picture. You know, I got Boise State ahead of ASU. I do believe the committee is going to give the nod over Boise State over Arizona State just because of that one impactful loss. And that one impactful loss is to the number 1 team in the country, right? So Boise State will be able to get and be eligible for that first round bye. And as an ASU fan, here's my take. We're UNLV running Rebels fans, right? We need UNLV to beat Boise State because then they will assume the G5 championship and they will most likely be a 12 seed because we will assume that 4th round or 4th pick overall and will be eligible for that first round bye if UNLV is victorious. So everyone that's an ASU fan is a running Rebels fan. Let's go, guys. I cannot wait to see what happens within the Mountain West on Friday. But more importantly, it's just about getting into the dance. So as I'm going over the bracket right now, I have a projection of Georgia beating Texas. I do think they have their number, and I do have a projection of SMU winning. Of course, we already went through the narrative of is if you're on the outside looking in, you want SMU to win, right? So within the home games that are going to go on in the first round, I have Texas, hosting a game, right? I do think Indiana is one of the bottom teams in this dance because you got blown out with the one competitive game you had all year. You'll still be eligible to make the dance with one loss, but you're going to be a bottom seed. So I do have them going into Texas. I have Tennessee hosting ASU. I do think the Sun Devils can win in Knoxville, but I don't want to bring out the bias in me within that. I do think we got a handle in Dallas this weekend, and then we'll see what happens. But a really cool game that I do think is inevitable will be an Ohio State-Penn State rematch. Just this one will be in the shoe. Ohio State won't be penalized for losing a home game in the first round because Texas will get that first round, bye still, even if they lose. Notre Dame is 100% going to get it. Tennessee will 100% get it. So I think that Ohio State will get the edge over Penn State and Indiana. They beat both of them, and yeah, they'll get that last home game. So Notre Dame will have that home game as well. They're going to be the 5 seed in my opinion. So at that point, you got Bama sneaking in. Whatever you're going to say, Miami, Bama, South Carolina, or Ole Miss, South Carolina is, a possession away from being ahead of Bama. So that's why I can't say South Carolina should be in there. But Ole Miss, man, I do feel bad for them a little bit, but, they're taking it too far. You leave your hopes to the committee, but you shouldn't have lost to Florida. That is your fault, and you can't blame anyone but yourself. And that's the same thing with Bama. You can't blame anyone but yourself for losing to Oklahoma. So if they do let Miami in some crazy scenario, which I think is unlikely, it's like maybe a 3% chance Miami gets in. Yeah, that's the SEC for you. So thank you guys so much. This is some of my CFP takes presented by Trevenchy. Wish I was on College Game Day because I definitely would have got all my picks right, but that is besides the point. We are hitting the 2025 college football season with the press pass with the Arizona State Sun Devils, and we are going to belong with or provide a lot more shows and content for you within the next season. But we are going into draft season, and I will definitely be getting into some tape breakdowns with some draft eligible prospects. Thank you guys so much for watching, and this is Trevenchy CFP Takes. Appreciate you watching.